Do, do, do. Bum, bum, bum. So I'm gonna quickly go over what kind of happened like pre-market because obviously we've rallied quite a bit. There was news at 8:30, so 1:30 our time, which is here, right? You can see it's just rallying down. And I'm guessing it just reacted off of. So I'm guessing it was like down here. News centered like up here. Respected the midpoint of yesterday's opening gap. And then it's just taken the 50-minute sell side that we had marked from yesterday. Potential for it to go down to like this hourly sell side, but it's not a trade I'd enter. So that's what happened pre-market. We've rallied down to 50-minute sell side. With that in mind, because we've had 8:30 news and we've rallied and taken sell side, it could be another no trade day. We do have 10 a.m. news as well, which is PPI. So on NFP week, which is non-farm payroll week, it's the first week of every month. So even though we're technically not in May yet, this Friday is going to land in May, and every first Friday is non-farm payroll. And it's just a very news-heavy week, right? So if I show the news for this week, you can see we have 1:30 news, 10 a.m. news, 10 a.m. news, 1:30 news, 10 a.m. news. And it's pretty much been like this. It's like this Wednesday to Friday, right? So Wednesday to Friday, you have heavy news on the first week of every month, or first Friday of every month. So every week has a Friday that's in like the first, right? What did I say about Biden? This is Biden's stock market, not Trump's. Tariffs will start kicking in soon, blah, 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 blah. Interesting. Of course, just blame it on Biden. My goats. We love Trump. So I am gonna delete like all of this shit. Because I do want to mark the opening example that's going to be created today, and its high is here. So for like clarity, do I just get rid of the fibs, I guess? Okay, I'll get rid of the fibs. I'll get rid of this daily VI. We don't need that either. But I'll keep the NWOG and these here. I've labeled them by date, so it should be a little bit less confusing. So we have MC up here, which is it's like abbreviation for market close. So this is where market closed yesterday. So this is today's current opening gap. I'm going to be really opening gap high, because obviously the low of the opening gap is going to be somewhere down here. So it's going to be a little bit confusing to look at the chart today, because there's going to be quite a few gaps marked. But hopefully I can do a good enough job of explaining what part is which. Okay, nice, like, buy model could be. See, we've swept liquidity and taken a low whilst doing it. So it could be a nice buy model. I can't really mark the low, but yeah, we've swept this low in liquidity. So this is first liquidity sweep, and then this will be second, right? So then we could look at a buy model to kind of go up. Just shows that we could have short-term bullish action, potentially. It's not a trading one. Not one I'd trade, because there's no buy-side target to go to. And now we just play the waiting game once again. Waiting to open. I don't, even if I wanted to trade today, I don't know if I can, because I'm pretty sure, because my account balance hasn't gone down, but I've taken a payout, it I think it just locks my account from trading. I mean, I can press the button, but I don't actually know what happens. Because in the email they send you when you take a payout, it's like, do not trade until you see your account balance deducted. But, like, why not just lock my account? Why give me the option to trade? King scammed. True. Top set's just like, yeah, we will send you an email, but we won't actually give you the payout. Now, sometimes it just takes long. I'm guessing people had good weeks, and now they have to do some pretty hefty payouts. 54. Should probably draw a 15-minute range. You can pick either, really. We can go like here, we can go here. It doesn't really make a difference. That does look like Audi Cap C, though. Okay. Trading off this inversion. So like these models where it's like sweeping liquidity and then coming down and sweeping again. It is normally like high conviction, right? High confidence and stuff. But so I'll try and like look for a target. Like even if it doesn't stand up, I'll try and see where it's going to retrace to. Even if I'm not trading it. Just so then you could kind of try and predict a reversal. You're not going to try and top, well, I wouldn't try and top tick it. But if it gets to like up here, right, I'm like, okay, now we could potentially start looking for some sort of structure in the market for a short. And I'll try and short to like down here, but we'll see, because we do have PPI, which is very high volatility news. But I'm probably just going to tape read again today. I'm not going to have any trades. Okay, so reacted nicely off the inversion gap, the 1 minute inversion gap. And you want about like not knowing when to pick a gap, right? Premium discount really helps with that, because you'll just essentially aim for the closest gap to this midline. So on the 5, you have this gap and this gap. You're going to try and pick the top gap, right? But then you're not going to try and go for these ones, right? These ones are too far away. So these would be like, so you'd enter here, and it doesn't really help because it's candles from news, right? So you'd be like, okay, 5-minute gap. Also, it's actually open. I should probably stop rambling. Okay, we'll get back to that point, but Okay, so that's that CE. Ooh. Okay, we can get rid of this because now we just want to look at the opening range gap. So when it's a huge opening range gap like this, and it wasn't tariff news, you'd essentially assume price continuation, right? So we're going to expect price to go lower today. So this hourly sell side, and then for the rest of the hourly, we have just gaps, like 4-hour gaps. We have to remember all of this is untouched down here. 3 gaps untouched. I think my charts are frozen, so I have to refresh my page. Pretty sure I deleted that, but there we go. If you're thirsting for a trade, like leaving equal lows is always a nice sign for continuation downwards when you have the hourly sell side. It's just a high risk entry because you're right into open. And you'd just be entering off of the fair value gap that was created on 930. It's not exactly a nice structure. It's just kind of praying for price continuation downwards using open volatility. This is like a minor sell side. Yeah, so how big is the opening gap today? 300 points? Or like 270 points? Even back on like last year when the opening gap was like 90 points, you'd be like, okay, that's a big gap. But now we're getting 300 point opening gaps. Nice 5-minute wick. Yeah, it's obviously a heavy news day. We've already had red folder news at 8:30, and then we have some more at 10. So we are expecting a very volatile day. But from like past experience, I would say that we're not going to expect price to be seeking liquidity. With that volatility, it could just be a lot of large chop, like large volatility chop, right? It did take the 50-minute sell side with the 130 news, so that's more confluence. So just like opening chop, and then leading up to 10, we could see price start to seek a liquidity draw, like the mid range or like this hourly. I think it's going to go for the hourly now, though, to be fair. Not making this high, respecting this gap, leaving equal lows, gives nice confidence to go for the hourly sell side. So yeah. Also disrespecting the 5-minute wick CE is nice. Yep. Also, immediate rebalance. There's two wicks just perfectly overlapping. Yep. So barely sweeping. I feel like I could be missing some sort of really important gap here that I haven't marked, like an opening gap or a new day gap or something. Is there really just nothing? It just rally in one night. Rallied in one trading day. Interesting. Yeah, it did. Okay. Is it going to be a daily gap? There is a daily gap here. I'll just mark a fib of it. So we'll just see the midpoint of this gap. Oh, and we can take the midpoint of this wick. Okay. So I'm just going to mark each quarter of this so I can actually label it for you, so it's easy to see. Top quarter, and then lower quarter. Okay, now I can get rid of this fib somehow. Okay. See how price reacts to this daily gap. Yeah, so when is pretty gross pre-market, but it was 8:30 news, and it was nicely structured. I mean, respected C of this opening gap here, the one from yesterday, and then just took 50 minutes outside. Oh, my chart's frozen. Yo guys, welcome back to another black screen live stream because my Wi-Fi's being shit. Lovely. Hello? I'm gonna refresh. Holy shit, man. Yeah, so yeah. Definitely expecting this because of the large opening gap. We're just expecting price continuation from pre-market. And we're just gonna try and see where it's eventually heading to, right? We've marked every label, every level of importance, every like major liquidity. So we've marked this wick, each quarter of this wick, and then we have opening gaps and new day gaps marked from previous days that were left untouched. Yeah, I mean it's nice volatility. It's just extremely high risk because of the 10 a.m. news PPI. It's literally respecting every PDO rate to the downside. Say you were in a short, say you got into like the short like up here, right? So you're expecting it because of immediate rebalance, not taking this high, so you've entered on this fair value gap, right? Even though it would be high risk, right? You've entered on this fair value gap and you're now in price. You're gonna take a partial on this sell side. You're gonna take a partial on this fair value gap midpoint. But whilst you're placing these levels, right? Say you have I don't know, 3 contracts. So you've taken a partial. You're still going to have your final TP on either one of these levels, depending on how much you want to greed the setup and how much you think it's going to run. But you're going to be watching how it reacts to each of your partial levels. So how it reacts to the sell side. Did it chop around? Did it spend a lot of time there? No, it just went straight through it. Same with this, right? That's kind of what you expect when you're expecting an extended run. You don't want to see price stop at one of your key levels, your partial levels, and just chop around. You want it to just keep going straight through. If it does start to chop around, you kind of full exit the trade. It's normally what I do, because I don't spend a lot of time looking at charts. I would rather just take the money and leave. And that goes for any sort of key level, right? It doesn't have to be a fair value gap CE, it doesn't have to be a sell side. It can be like a few days ago when we were in a sell model trade and I had the 1 minute mark, the 1 minute Wix CE, works the exact same, right? It literally bounced off of it, so I full exited the trade. Even though I had partials lower, right? And my full TP was lower. I just didn't want to sit in the trade. So when you're in a trade, you want to watch how it reacts to each level that you've marked, right? Each key importance level. where you would expect a retracement, right? So when it's sweeping liquidity, when it's entering a wick CE, when it's entering gap CE, you want to see how it's reacting to those levels. And that will indicate whether you should stay in the trade to your next TP or whether you should full exit, because you're going to get reversed on. Obviously, like if you're comfortable with it and you want to spend more time just looking at the chart and just, you're okay with it just reversing, which you should be, because if you're in a trade from this gap here, you've taken a partial, your stop loss is probably like here, right? Stop loss is probably just on this breakaway gap here. But let's say you've just entered the trade and you don't have a partial here, right? You're expecting full TP down here, and for some reason you don't have a partial on this hourly sell side. That is when you're kind of really monitoring how price is reacting, because you're going to have to full exit and cover any sort of risk that you've left on the table. But if you've entered like a high confidence trade, you shouldn't really have to worry about it. As in like before your first partial anyway. Okay, so we are just kind of chopping on this lower quartile of the daily fair value gap. Right, and see how even though it has technically sub liquidity, and it's making highs, right? It's not exactly a 2022 because you are just retracing into the range, right? That range is going to be that to that. So it's just a range of the 5 minute, which is essentially going to be CE of this gap if it doesn't continue to rally. Oh, sorry, it would be like CE of the 15-second range. Right here. This green line here. I ended up in 9:30 15-second gap, but couldn't figure out how to take a partial, so I put my TP. Nice. To put partials, literally just right click and go limit, and then it will say partials, right? So limit is always a partial, because it will always be in the opposite direction of your trade, right? So because I'm putting my right click below where price currently is, it's going to be like, okay, you want to long down here, you want to buy down here. If I do it above price currently is, so above here, it's going to say limit sell, right? Which would be right. So if I'm long, I'm expecting price to go up, so it's going to be limit sell. Yeah, but you just right click, put a limit on. But nice. Risky, but nice. It's also a trade I would have taken if I was able to trade today. But you took a long off this, you took a short off this gap. This one here. So before it even respected this high, you were here, like, you entered like here. It's pretty risky. But nice. Worked out. Fair enough. Yeah, that's valid, Brandon, because to be fair, it could just fucking nuke. It's having a really nice bearish structure at the moment. But I don't know if I can trade. I don't want to enter a trade and tell it's like, yeah, it's a crazy trade. I don't want to enter, even though it's like sort of cleaning up. I don't want to enter and then top says like, you entered a trade, so we're actually going to close your account because you took a payout and entered a trade. Like, it's not like you can not take a payout or not take a trade after payouts. It's just because my balance hasn't been deducted. So, like, if I quickly extend my screen to where it could be. Oh, how the fuck do I do that? I actually don't know. Do I just like drag this down? Nope, that's not gonna work. Sorry, I could like fucked up the stream. I don't know how to make it so it's not cropped out of the screen anymore. But yeah, my balance hasn't changed since I took my payout. So that means they're still processing it. That was a $400 trade. Fucking hell. How many contracts? Bro, look at it catching 80 pip trades, man. Okay. It's like a 70 pip trade. Okay. My gambling goat. Oh, I still want to enter this trade. This trade's nice. Off this inversion gap. Down to the wick quarter. Even though it's 7 minutes to news, I'm liking that trade. I wish I could enter it. Yeah, so I would have entered, like, even though I didn't touch it, I would still have entered. Like, that's also a nice entry. After switching token. It is risky because we're like 5 minutes till news. Extremely risky, actually. But, you know, whatever. What'd the stop be? 16 points, top of this gap. And also just before this high, because you obviously don't want it to break a high if you're in a short. So 16 points risk. Do I have any way of like checking whether I can trade or not? Probably not. Lock the account. Like, it doesn't lock me out from trading. But then in the email where you take a payout, it says, do not trade until your account balance has been deducted. Doesn't tell you what happens if you do trade though, so I have no idea. No idea whether to risk it or not. Okay, so that's actually the nice entry now, off of that inversion gap. Sorry, I'm also typing to support chat to see if they'll reply in time. But yeah, that entry right there, it's very clean, very nice. If you get an immediate rebalance off of this bottom bit here, that'd be extremely nice. But we didn't. It's still gonna just rally down to this at least the top quarter of the daily wick. Oh, it just pops up. Nice. Okay. Well, now you can see that I'm talking to support chat. Oh, no, you can't see it because it's actually on the part where the screen's cut off. Thank you, Lucas. Yeah, that's pretty much what they said as well. It just says to avoid any unexpected impacts, do not trade. Sweet. Quite unfortunate that they're taking a while to fucking process my payout because that was a very nice trade. Very well. I should have probably just switched accounts and traded on another account, but whatever. I don't know if you're still here, Brandon, but are you still trading two accounts? Do you have like one funded and then one challenge? Or have you cut it down since you switched jobs and stuff? Okay, well this is the 10 a.m. news. And it's exactly why you don't put a trade in before 10 a.m. news, because you're going to have to hold through this. Which is actually fine, because your stop's definitely in break even. It's like, it's a tight stop loss into break even. But it might not reach TP target because of the news. This is why you don't trade NFP week. week's news, like after Wednesday, right? So Wednesday, you can Monday, Tuesday, it's possible to trade. Um, I mean, today was also possible to trade, but like, it's not always like this, right? It's not always gonna have clean structure. Like sometimes it could just chopped after this 15 minutes outside, right? It's just not high probability trades after Wednesday. Friday after non-farm payroll, so that's after 1:30 our time. There can be some clean setups. So going into open. Yeah, no, I think the session just drags out. I mean, it's not exactly clear what it would seek. So this is the mid-range. We can get rid of these sell side labels. Did I just get rid of something? Oh, let's just see a side. Cool. Get rid of those. So now we just have the opening gap, which is 300 points. Yeah, sorry, Lucas. My uncle came in and we were just talking about Warhammer because he absolutely loves it. But yeah, have a good work day. No worries, mate. Nice trade. You fucking gambler. But yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll put it in stream then. Sweet. I'll see you tomorrow, mate.